This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network. Hello, I'm Ferris Mueller, the talking ass. They say he's stubborn as a mule, but he's nobody's fool, no. He's an educated equine, he'll chew on your grass, but never trespass. Ferris Mueller, the talking ass. So people ought to stop and listen, hear what they're missing, they'd be better off. They need to let the donkey weigh in, or he'll be braying at the trough. A talking donkey's like a mule, and the burros think he's cool, and he always brays with class, though he's just an ass. A very insightful beast of burden, he'll carry your pack, keep you on the right track. I'm a talking ass.
You've been doing some thinking, huh? Either unintentional. Well, compared to, I got nothing.
For a change, I've been doing some thinking, yes. I do a lot of talking, but I really need to balance the scales a little bit and think more. By the way, this is the Dullards Club, if you're just tuning in. This is a good, typical Dullards Club meeting then, I think, as we're...
Because we don't know what we're doing. As
it unfolds. I do want to remind you, if you happen to be listening to this, if you found it by mistake, which is how most people come across this podcast, that if something we've talked about, if it resonates with you, let me suggest, as a friend, that you get the therapy you so desperately need.
Hit the local bar and nurse a beer for a couple of hours. That used to be the go-to. The old scenario, husband leaves work at 5 o'clock. Wife sees him at 7. Where the hell you been? Oh, I stopped at the bar.
I've been down at Clancy's.
Yeah. That, it's funny, that used to be a thing. It seems there's a lot of things that used to be in the olden days. Archie, I was making breakfast, or I was making lunch, or I was making dinner. And it was
Archie never made breakfast or lunch or dinner. But
we always saw him coming home. I want the dinner on the table at 6 o'clock or whatever, and she would and Edith would scramble around. I don't remember ever seeing her make him breakfast. We did see Edith making his lunch to bring to work because Gloria walked in and that whole discussion about what are you making him? Oh, I was going to make him a tongue sandwich. But he said he didn't want to have anything that came out of a cow's mouth. So Gloria says, well, what'd you give him? And she says, a couple of hard-boiled eggs.
When you think about this whole being domesticated, and I'm not at all. I've been sequestered away from places like the grocery store and so on and so forth, and learned a valuable lesson this weekend. By the way, I was shopping. I had been sent in to get something very specific, because that's the only time I'm allowed to go into a grocery store. Okay. I get all distracted. The bright lights, the lighting is just so.
You really don't regularly do that?
No, I don't. That's why I really don't know what things are supposed to cost.
Okay.
So I go in and I just think, okay, well, a bag of chips is $5. It should.
Nowadays, that's about right.
No, it was serious. And I went to get some specific chips because I saw them advertised on one of the screens in the gym. I'm going to give them a plug here. This is called Simply something. And it's their marketing slogan, where they don't have any artificial flavors, no artificial colors.
What's the point, buddy?
Well, it turns out they do have real calories. So you're not missing out on all of that stuff. Just maybe some flavor and some color.
Real fat, probably real calories, real sodium, I'm sure. They're not all natural or something, are they?
Oh, yes. Of course they are.
That's why they're Simply.
You cracked the code. So I go in there looking for these things, and I'd never seen them before or heard of them, but for some reason it sounded like it would be kind of a health an odyssey looking for healthy things. So I went to that aisle. I found the aisle that said chips on it. And I went down the aisle and I'm looking at it and I'm like, even for me, who doesn't go into a grocery store very often, it seemed like an exorbitant amount of money to be charging for these things.
Well, yeah.
It's the single serving, like the kind that you would get as part of a snack.
Yeah,
or maybe
yeah.
that's like $1.50.
Is that right?
For that, yeah. And then there's another one. It's I don't know what they call this size, but it's something that you could share. Shareable, maybe, I don't know. But that was like $4. $4, and this is chips. There's a whole nother one for your family. It's called family size.
Which is about $7.
That's exactly right. It was like $7.40 something, and I'm like, family size. And then now it doesn't stop there.
Of course not.
No, because there's party size. For the party size, they didn't even have a price. They had a QR code. Then you clicked on it. It gave you like an installment loan application.
Because when you have a party, you have a bucket at the door to put in your entry fee to buy the chips. So you were talking about the price of things with the chips.
Well, I didn't really explore any further. You see, if I start exploring inside a grocery store, you'll have to send somebody in there to get me. Here's the thing: if you're a shopper, you know where things are.
Yeah.
So you can go in and say, I need X. You're going to know where the X aisle is.
Pretty much.
So if there are two entrances to the store, you'll go into the entrance that's closer to the aisle you're looking for. I mean, you get to know the lay of the land a little bit.
If you go to the same place all the time, yes.
I don't do that. I walk in walk in one door and I get lost. I start looking around and I'm looking up at trying to read
the directory on the aisles.
Each aisle, and some of the aisles are so long you have to walk halfway down before you get close enough to read the other end of the aisle.
Boy, you talk about first world problems, huh? Oftentimes we hearken back to the olden days. There was a lot that sucked back then too. We have a lot more convenience now, which we are paying for. I don't think we could go back. Notwithstanding the whole thing, you can't do that. You can't go back and kill Hitler because it would change history as we know it.
Right.
That seems to be the proverbial, what would you do if you could go back in time? It's funny, I'll go back to The Simpsons. It reminded me of, they had him going back in caveman times or something, and a bug landed on his arm and he slapped it. And they fast forwarded and dinosaurs were dropping dead and everything changed in life from that point on. So we got to be careful what we do. When you step on that ant now, we may be altering history in the year 3050 or something,
Do you watch the TV show Cops?
No, I was disgusted enough by the ads for it. But what did you see? It's always, even the promos. Come on, they use the best part for the promos.
Well, I think they only shot maybe 20 or 30 episodes of Cops in total, and they keep rerunning them. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I watch it to see if this is one that I hadn't seen yet.
Or if you know anybody getting arrested.
It's not that I would know them, but I have come to recognize them. They're like part of the family now.
Yeah.
So I have, by the way, I have some advice for any of you who might consider maybe having a guest star appearance on Cops.
Okay.
In case you're aspiring to that, I just have a couple of words of advice for you.
Put a shirt on.
Maybe you don't. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you don't want to be a guest star on Cops. And in this case, here's what you do.
Okay.
When you're driving in your car and you're going to take a turn, use your signal. Because just about every Cops episode starts with, well, I noticed this car, he turned in there, he didn't signal, I'm going to, and immediately, that's because he's got meth and guns and everything else in the car.
He's got an arsenal in the trunk.
So just, a word of advice here.
Think about that.
Signal when you're going to take a turn, and your life will most likely be easier.
Stop at that stop sign.
And try to have plates that are not expired. Expired plates always are a problem. You always get pulled over. And the other thing I'm going to suggest to you again, if you're a potential Cops guest star, is put on a shirt. When you're heading out for the evening, put a shirt on. Just try it. It'll serve you well.
And even I would say take it a step further. Don't put on a wife beater. Put on a real shirt or a real T-shirt even. You don't have to shave. You don't have to wash up. You don't even have to shower.
It's like our new format, Don.
I wonder if
we don't have to shave or shower anymore. There are going to be people who are going to complain about this being the dullest show that they've ever sat through.
We talked about best.
I thought, well, that might have been a better show.
This could be the second dullest.
I think we'd have to go some. We'd have to find the second dullest, because I think this one is at the relative top or bottom of the heap. By the way, you can find us on the YouTube channel. You can find us on Facebook.
Our website.
You can find us on Spotify. You can find us at our website. Mm-hmm. If you've got some more, something you can enlighten us with, which would not be very difficult, I must say, go to Boring at the Dullards Club. That's BORING at thedullardsclub.com. And let us know what you're thinking. Yeah. We'd be happy to hear it, and I'm sure it's going to elevate the discussion.
We might even send you a keychain.
We could send you a keychain. We might send you two. If you tell us you have 2 cars, you can have a couple of keychains, and we'd be happy to get them right out to you.
If you have a couple of friends that think they might like one as well. Oh, God.
We've long passed the time where we would circle the drain on this one.
Well, I was going to say, should we circle a little bit?
Let's do that and, see what happens on the other side.
Wrap it up.
As we rise above the drain and get our snorkel up there, a couple of thoughts for you. One of the things that I was thinking the other day, my wife does a lot of jigsaw puzzles, and she buys them and uses them, does them. And I said, nobody going to do them. Can you sell them? No, nobody's going to buy a used jigsaw puzzle. I said, why not? Well, if there's a piece missing. Well, what if you declare that there's nothing missing? It's unique. Well, nobody's going to buy one. Anyway, this annoyed me enough that I went to the local library and said, just out of curiosity, do you ever take used jigsaw puzzles? And I read through this whole rant I just did with you. And she goes, oh, sure. I said, really? She goes, yeah, I'll go through them. If they're complete, I'll put them on a shelf where people can borrow. Or if we know there's something missing, I'll put it on a table and let people just sort of randomly do it and assemble it. I said, great, thank you. Next time I come, I'll have a bunch of puzzles for you. What do you got next, bud?
I don't know how I follow that story.
Well, that's why we're circling the drain. They don't have to follow.
I was reading an article, a clickbait article. The headline was, so this is how the world is going to end. And it mentioned in the subhead of the 2 stars are going to pass by through our solar system, and they're going to impact the gravitational fields of several planets, and the planets are going to collide. And I thought,
Yikes.
Is this going to happen maybe next week? Or, are they warning us or whatever? And apparently with the aid of this new telescope, they have calculated that should the species go on for a few more billion years, it is possible that a couple of planets are going to swing by, impact our solar system, and that's going to be the demise of our solar system and our planet.
What's the old line from some movie? Missed it by that much. You mentioned clickbait. I noticed on YouTube, I saw something that effectively was clickbait because I clicked on it like an idiot.
You took the hook.
I did take the hook, line, and sinker. So I'm watching that thing and said, where the hell is the thing you brought me here? You didn't mention that at all. So on top of poorly edited video, an AI voiceover, I said, how can they get away with this? And then I scrolled a little further past the description, and there was YouTube's altered content disclaimer. They're basically saying you can put up whatever you want as long as somewhere in the beginning you say, this is all made up, nothing to do with reality, but enjoy it anyway, which is exactly what this was. And it pissed me off.
Well, that's going to work really well with our next
episode
title. Yeah, it's you could win $1 million.
What's the old from Steve Martin's old stand-up bit? How to be a millionaire and don't pay taxes. And he goes, okay, here's the first step. First, you get $1 million. Then
there's another old saw that goes, how to make a small fortune in real estate.
Okay.
Start with a large fortune.
It pretty much nails it, too.
We need to get out of here, so this meeting, if you will, whatever this thing is, of the Dullards Club for Men and Women, too, is hereby adjourned. We'd like to see you back here when next we meet.
Yeah.
even though we don't like to say it, but we say it all the time.
That's why I let you say it.
Okay, well, remember, stay dull.